It finishes 1-1 between Chelsea and Arsenal, in which was a massive game at Stamford Bridge in the title race. Caicedo sent off in the 38th minute. Chelsea dig deep, and survive. Questions will be asked about a lot of these players on the pitch. Did Arteta get his game plan spot on? Chelsea were very good in the opening 35 minutes and were actually taking the game to Arsenal. Bearing in mind, both teams missing key players. Arsenal, for the first time this season, start a back line without Gabriel or Saliba. Chelsea still without Cole Palmer. He didn't feature today, but a lot of people think he will be back midweek. There's an awful lot to get into. It's going to be quite a long video because we're going to try and break down a lot of the passage of plays. I also want to talk about Reece James, because I think Reece James, in my opinion, is the first player since maybe Ryan Giggs, maybe someone of that ilk, who is world-class in two positions. That is unbelievably rare. One of the best right-backs in the world. But as a central midfielder, he's got so much to his game. Some of the passes he was playing out to Garnacho, some of the balls he was playing down to Neto, the composure he has on the ball, and the fact that, now it looks like, he's going to stay fit. Of course, got the assist for the goal from a set piece. Got an assist against Barcelona as well. This season, I think he's looked as strong as anyone, and he's playing as a DM / right back. Arsenal, not their best performance, but I think if you said to a lot of Arsenal fans, would you take a point? Maybe not necessarily when the scenario changed with the whole 10 men situation that Chelsea had. But I think a lot of Arsenal fans this season, playing Man United, Man City, Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, all these teams, they've only lost one game, which still, I know some people might have a meltdown today, similar to what they had against Sunderland, but you're still top of the league by 5 points over City. You're still 6 points clear over Chelsea. You've got winnable games coming up. I think there's positives from both sides here. I said on my prediction, I did actually go over 1-1 draw, just because I think this game was going to be so close. Two teams trying to cancel each other out like a game of chess. But we are going to break it down. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Do this right here, like and subscribe. The road to 100,000 subscribers is well and truly on. And as it stands, we are less than 400 away now from 85,000, which is just absolutely obscene. So drop a like and hit that subscribe button. I want to get into the lineups first of all. Lot to discuss here. Red card. I want to talk about Sanchez, because he's definitely gone up in my estimations the last month or so. I want to talk about the Arsenal. We'll start with Arsenal because they're the away team. David Raya, Calafiori, Capier, Mosquera, Timber. The first time Arsenal have played with Capier and Mosquera as a centre-back partnership. Now, normally one of those will play with either Gabriel or Saliba. Timber, for me, been the best right-back this season. Some people would say Reece James. Zubimendi and Rice. I didn't think Rice had a bad game. Zubimendi, of course, was subbed off around the hour mark. Saka, of course, got his assist for the Merino goal. Eberechi Eze, Martinelli, and Mikel Merino. Sanchez, who I thought had a really, really good game. Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, Caicedo, James, Estavo, Enzo, Neto, and João Pedro. Now, when you look at, we'll get into some of the individual performances. The fact that Arsenal still have Saliba, Gabriel out, Leandro Trossard missed the game due to a knock, and Kai Havertz is expected to be back in the next couple of weeks. But the fact that Gabriel Jesus was back on the bench, even Wanyeri on the bench, and some of the attacking talent they brought on, Odegaard, Gyökeres, Noni Madueke, of course, familiar names to Chelsea players. Chelsea brought on Garnacho, Delap, Cole Palmer and Gittins not used. You would imagine Palmer will probably come back Tuesday or Wednesday when they play midweek. But I look at that right there in terms of that result. We'll get into the red card in a minute. I think both teams would have taken a point if you said that would you take a point at the beginning of the game? I think Chelsea and Arsenal fans would probably say yes. Now, the red card obviously changes things. The situation changes. But based on what we saw today, Chelsea, the opening 35 minutes were very, very good. And they deserve a lot of praise. You know, despite playing with over an hour with 10 men, it didn't really change the Chelsea game plan. They were, you know, Estavo was getting down that right-hand side, trying to get a shot away. He had two big opportunities. One he put over the bar from about 10 yards out, 8 yards out. Should have been hitting the target. Then João Pedro volleyed a pass over the top of the Arsenal backline. Enzo Fernandez put that wide. And then you had the big red card moment, which completely changed the game. Now, a lot of the talk going into this, it was Reece versus Caicedo, two of the best central midfielders in Europe right now. There was so much riding on this. And I know people are going to say, oh, yeah, but, you know, not Enzo, Caicedo got sent off today. That automatically makes Reece better. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think they're both world-class in their own making. They're different players. Reece is a box-to-box central midfielder, and Caicedo is a 6 DM. So, like, they are completely different players. What I would say, though, is Caicedo was trying to get himself about. He was trying to smash every single go into a challenge, come away with the ball. It is rash. I don't really get why he goes in like that. You know, after taking 2 looks, Anthony Taylor come back onto the pitch, change his yellow card to a red card. And then, you know, towards the end of the half, Arsenal started a bit stronger in that last 10 minutes left. Eze had a decent strike. Sanchez, for me, he has gone up in my estimations quite a lot. You know, clean sheet against Wolves, clean sheet against Burnley, clean sheet against Barcelona, clean sheet against Benfica, Nottingham Forest, Spurs away from home, PSG Club World Cup final, this season Fulham, Palace. He has been very, very good this season, and I do think he deserves praise. He made 2 or 3 top saves, getting down low, close to his body. One was a right hand, one was a left hand. And I do believe that he has, at this moment in time, proven a lot of people wrong. You know, back in the summer, Chelsea wanted Mike Maignan, the French AC Milan goalkeeper. I don't want to say they've made the right choice because we never know what Mike Maignan would have been like in a Chelsea shirt. But what I would say, Sanchez today was pretty fucking good. He made 2 or 3 top saves. Equally, David Raya made a few saves as well. You know, but Chelsea come away, bearing in mind playing with 10 men, with more shots, with the same amount of shots on target, a decent level of passing accuracy, and the same amount of corners, bearing in mind they played with 10 men for over an hour. Like, I think a lot of Chelsea fans will be happy with that performance. 100%. Second half comes around. Arsenal are knocking on the door around the hour mark. Saka puts in a ball. Mikel Merino makes it 1-1. And as soon as that ball went into the back of the net, I'm not going to lie, I did think Arsenal would go on to win it. But that being said, Chalobah and Fofana, Chalobah deserves massive praise. You know, he was the one that got the header from the corner early on to make it 1-0 to Chelsea, playing with 10 men, giving it these sort of celebrations. You know, I look at Chalobah, I think since he's come back from that loan where he was playing at Crystal Palace, he has been very good. And for me, that is the best centre-back partnership. Now, I still believe if you want to go out there and win Champions Leagues and win Premier Leagues, I do believe you need a world-class centre-back to either play like next to Chalobah or Fofana, similar to what Liverpool had when they had Joe Gomez or Matip. Obviously, Matip was very good and very underrated, but they had a main centre-back. Reece James, for me, absolutely ridiculous, world-class. It's not a joke anymore. He is absolutely insane. Estavo, of course, subbed off early. But in terms of like the end of the game, there was 2 or 3 chances Arsenal had to go on and win it, but they didn't capitalise. And you have to give huge praise to Sanchez. In terms of match stats, it's pretty even. XG might be higher to Arsenal, but shots are higher to Chelsea. Passing, is pretty even. Fouls committed is pretty even. Corners, again, even. Like, I look at the table after this result, and yes, Manchester City are in between both teams, albeit they did play Leeds United and they nearly bottled it after being 2-0 up against a relegation candidate. And I think at this moment in time, these two teams are more consistent for me than City. I still believe Arsenal are the without doubt the main favourites to go on and win this Premier League. But that sort of game, the way Chelsea played with 10 men for such a long period of time, for me, they are in the race. Like, they are 100% in this title race. Whether Enzo Maresca, like he did last year, wants to close that down to not necessarily put added pressure onto a lot of these Chelsea players. But in the last month, they've played Spurs, Barcelona, and Arsenal. If you want to go back since early November, they've played us, Qarabag, Wolves, Barcelona, Arsenal, and they got a very good 3 points away to Burnley. I'm looking at their matches they've got coming up. They've got Leeds United on Wednesday away. Then they've got Bournemouth away on Saturday. Like, I do believe they win the next two away Premier League games. Bournemouth have kind of fallen off a bit of a cliff recently in terms of their form. And then they've got Atalanta in the Champions League, which is, of course, a massive game. Come back to Everton in the Premier League, Cardiff in the League Cup. How many games have they got? Jesus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've got 8 games. How are they playing Bournemouth twice so quickly? It's just how the fixtures work out, I guess. For Arsenal, though, it's a point away from home. I'm not going to, I don't think it was their best performance by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to be one of these guys that comes on and absolutely shits on them. It will be back to the drawing board for Mikel Arteta. Go and beat Brentford, he's probably thinking, and then we're back where they want to be. But like the Arsenal form recently, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Spurs, to get 7 points out of those 3 games is, of course, very, very good. And bearing in mind this season now, they've played Newcastle away from home. They've played Man United away from home. They've played Liverpool away from home. They've played Chelsea away from home. They have got a lot of their away days that are tough games. Sunderland as well, out of the way. Their next games, they've got Brentford. They've got, Aston Villa. They've got Club Brugge. Like, I think they win their next 5. I'm not going to lie to you. Brentford at the moment are in good form. And Thiago, he's definitely a pick for your fantasy team. However, I think that the Arsenal team have got too much. But they are just where they are for a reason. I think they go out and win those games. I thought it was a very entertaining game, very start-stop, very London derby, but I think both teams on the balance will be happy with a point. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.